Josh was
said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Is he?
Oh, man. You look at Anthony Joshua. He looks like a superhero.
Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen.
On his podcast, Joe Rogan recently joked about Jake Paul's plan to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026. Rogan humorously suggested that Paul might be waiting so he can bulk up with steroids before facing the former heavyweight champion.
That Dubois guy, though, holy man. The way he took out Anthony Joshua.
I know.
Yeah, Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's.
Said he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
And the haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like, what about now?
Yeah.
They're like, what about fight him
now?
now? He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026. I'm like, okay.
To put on weight?
Put all the steroids, every steroid
Whatever.
they have.
I would watch.
Snake
Here's
venom,
the thing. I would
scorpion
watch
venom.
it.
Oh, by the way,
Scorpion venom.
Rollo reached out to me, John Rollo, my boy, and he sells this blue scorpion shit. He wants to get you some, Gordon.
I'll have some.
All right, I'll have him send you some.
Get on the
I'll
scorpion.
take some
Quadruple
too.
doses, like
Yeah,
We'll see
do
what
it.
happens. I'm gonna start slow. I want to find out if I get poisoned.
Yeah, just
What the fuck are we doing? We're drinking venom from scorpions.
it is weird.
That's weird. He's got the dopest tattoos.
Joe Rogan has always been impressed by Anthony Joshua's physique. He's called Joshua's muscular build and strength superhero-like, praising his power in the ring. Joshua is known for his strict training and athleticism, which set him apart from other fighters. His dominance in the heavyweight division has earned him respect as one of boxing's top athletes.
Like boxers today, if you look at like Anthony Joshua, who's the heavyweight champion of the world now.
Is
you
he?
look at him, yeah. He's a English fellow. He's a tank. I mean, he's a.
Is he?
Oh man, you look at Anthony Joshua. He looks like a superhero.
Do those guys have as much stamina as these guys do, though?
Oh yeah, they do
Oh,
today.
they did?
Yeah, because the conditioning methods that they have today are just so superior. They understand rest and recovery, and they monitor
see.
your heart rate, and they're monitoring lactic acid buildup. And
Jake Paul has been challenging legendary fighters in boxing, but what if he decides to test his skills in MMA? His matches with former champions have certainly gotten attention, but stepping into MMA would be a whole new challenge. Some have even speculated that he might eventually want to fight Joe Rogan himself.
Now that things didn't work out in boxing for Jake Paul, who's he going to fight in MMA?
if he fought Joe Rogan, that'd be the greatest selling fight of all time.
Joe Rogan?
And that'd be a good fight. I think Rogan would beat him.
That's insane. You're crazy.
In MMA? Have you seen Joe's kicks?
Joe,
Bam! One to Jake's face, he's dead.
I've seen the spinning kicks, but Joe's like 70 years old now. He's like 3 feet shorter than Jake Paul. He's a blob.
One DMT trip right beforehand, he'll see every punch Jake's gonna throw.
No matter how many cold plunges or sauna trips Joe takes, he won't be prepared for a fight against Jake Paul.
Jake Paul's strategy has been to call out famous fighters to make himself the focus of the combat sports world.
I love that.
Well, it'd be cool just to be like, why does it have to be like, hey, I need to beat you at MMA? You are a kickboxer.
Right.
You are an MMA fighter. It's two different sports.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah, but it's like it's exciting to see. Like,
Yeah.
let's see what happens.
Yeah.
See if he could survive the first round in just pure Muay Thai.
Yeah.
No takedowns.
No, I think that clown show is that Jake Paul match. Such a clown show.
What are they doing?
Is he still fighting Nate Diaz? Is that still going on?
Oh, that one. Yeah, I thought because he's got a PFL contract as
Oh,
well,
that's
right?
Yeah.
Joe Rogan has acknowledged Jake Paul's knockout power, especially when Paul knocked out a former UFC champion with a single punch. Rogan pointed out that if Paul had started his career as a boxer instead of a YouTuber, he might have earned more respect for his knockout abilities. However, Paul's past as an internet personality has made many fans skeptical, even though he's been successful in the ring.
If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that, you'd be like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? If it wasn't that big YouTube star, and you just saw him as a boxing contender, you'd be like, that dude's got dynamite in his hands.
Eddie Hearn has warned Jake Paul that if he truly wants to fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need insurance. Joshua is a powerhouse, and stepping into the ring with him is a risky move.
Eddie Hearn responding to Jake Paul's call out of Anthony Joshua. by stating this. He states, Joshua would fight anyone anytime, but warn Paul about the risk. If Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance. And let me counterpunch. Eddie Hearn responding to this just confirms that this fight could actually happen. Because, Eddie pretty much, calls the shots. He makes the play. Anthony Joshua's interested. Now, Eddie Hearn is stating that he's interested. So that means, hey, why not wait? Why wait to 26? Why not this year in 25? And that means that he is very comfortable with putting Anthony Joshua in there with Jake Paul. And if I was Eddie Hearn, people, counterpunching this statement, I would too. Because this is, to me, again, like I've told you guys before, when Jake Paul called out Anthony Joshua, I think he overstepped himself.
Eddie Hearn has also questioned why Jake Paul wants to fight in 2026 instead of this year. He believes if Paul is serious, he should take the fight sooner. Hearn's confidence in this match happening soon suggests that negotiations might already be underway. If both sides agree, we could see this fight sooner than expected.
And Eddie being that confident by responding the way he did, why wait to next year? Let's do it now, or let's do it this year. That says a lot, man. That is saying a lot about Eddie Hearn. The confidence is there. He wants that fight because Jake Paul is better than people think he is. But can he beat AJ? No. Because one shot from AJ would put Jake Paul on a stretcher, on the gurney. And Eddie, he saw that. He saw it just like I did. Just like I think you guys know. I think Jake Paul is calling him out because he needs another big fight. And calling out Anthony Joshua is a good way to do it. He promised Canelo Alvarez, I promise you, you're going to need me. I promise you, my fight is going to be bigger than yours. Well, who is on that level?
Shannon Sharp doesn't think Jake Paul stands a chance against Anthony Joshua. He believes Joshua's size and power are too much for Paul to handle. Joshua's experience in the ring makes him a dangerous opponent, and many people think this fight could end badly for Paul.
The elites. We talk about the elites at their craft. It's not going to happen. If I'm not mistaken, I think Jake fought the closest,
Tyson Fury, brother.
Tommy Paul, the closest person to actually,
Tommy Fury.
Tommy, if you want to challenge someone with the one loss you have. Take him out.
Despite the criticism, Teddy Atlas has praised Jake Paul for his commitment to improving as a fighter. He recognizes that Paul is genuinely putting in the effort to get better and compete at a high level. Atlas, who has seen many fighters come and go, respects the work Paul has put into his boxing career.
But listen, I don't want to mock it. I know you're going to take me there. I don't want to mock it because anyone gets in the ring, I ain't mocking them. I'm not. And I have a lot of respect for Jake Paul, what he's done, and the way he's done it. He's trained hard to become the best fighter he can be, and he's a work in progress, and he's still working. He's still trying to be better.
Jake Paul hasn't just called out Anthony Joshua. He's also claimed he could beat Canelo Alvarez. This has frustrated many boxing fans, as Canelo is widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. One of the biggest challenges in this fight would be the weight difference. Jake Paul weighed 200.2 pounds for his fight against Mike Tyson, while Anthony Joshua typically fights at around 252 to 255 pounds in the heavyweight division.
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass.
He just got knocked out, right?
Yeah, he doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All this I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo.
Stop the tape now. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. The thing I respect about Jake Paul is his strategic selection of opponent. The retired NBA player, the mixed martial artist who does not specialize in striking. and a almost approaching 60-year-old Mike Tyson. But Anthony Joshua's skills are 1,000 light years ahead of Jake Paul's. Anthony Joshua, Mr. 28 wins, 25 knockouts, 4 losses. Anthony Joshua has been in the ring with real fighters. His resume speaks for itself. I just have one thing to say. Jake Paul, you can't play boxing. Trust me. Just stay in your lane.
Dubois is coming into his own, man. That's what that is. He's only like 27. That guy's fucking scary. He's dangerous. Going into that fight, seems like he believed that he was just going to dominate him. He was so aggressive. He was just in the pocket constantly, just forcing Joshua to go to war. It was wild.
Everybody was like, look, to Joshua, I think you're done.
Right after he knocks out Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, you're back.
Yeah.
Flattened Francis Ngannou, and everyone's like, oh, Joshua's back. Look how good he looked.
Anthony Joshua has faced some of the biggest names in boxing with far more experience than Jake Paul. Joe Rogan has pointed out this gap in experience when discussing a potential fight between the two. Joshua has battled top fighters in intense matchups, while Paul is still relatively new to the sport. Jake Paul has faced criticism for carefully selecting his opponents. Many believe he only fights retired or less capable fighters to build up his record. His recent fight with Mike Tyson, who was 52 years old, has led some to accuse Paul of taking on opponents he knows he can beat. This has raised questions about whether Paul is really testing himself in the ring. Joe Rogan commented on the fight, saying he was glad Tyson didn't get hurt, and he also pointed out that Tyson received a significant payday from the event.
The real deal respond to me as I tweeted my thoughts about delusion, which again, I think is more about what Jake said about Anthony Joshua and what he'll do to him. That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, at Jake Paul is the truth. Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights. Then he asked for the toughest fights ever, and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh, crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind. You're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP and someone that she really respects. And Gervonta Davis, and she's not the only one saying that. Dan Raphael said the same thing earlier that day or maybe yesterday. I can't believe that that's true or if that was really going to... Actually, the idea being, had Gervonta Davis beat Lamont Roach, he was going to fight Jake Paul next. And this is why I say, like, it's delusional, but it's possible. Like, he almost had the Canelo fight, and think what you will about how that went down and how realistic that was going to be. I legit think it was probably close to happening. Now you're telling me there were discussions and potentially, you know, signed to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. And again, I do believe the reason for that is Jake's massive size advantage. Again, that's like a 100-pound weight advantage. How would that even work?